Part 2! I really wanted to get the original video done, and I didn't want to ruin the quality of it by just rambling forever at the end, so I cut it short and will now do the rambly part. So about the tier 1 AA change. I did say that the hand counter system got better, but I'm not even sure that was intentional. On a design level, with how much they defended the hard counter system in the past, with just how hard it is, this may just be yet another mistake. DK also claims that the game has no races and is a deck builder, and it is a deck builder, but it has races. Each core unit is effectively a race, so to speak. While you can do some funny business with maxing tier 1 meta units, it's not like you could play without them, and they're still gonna form the bulk of your forces. I also spent a couple hours learning Photopair and made this image. If you can guess what it's supposed to show, you get 1 brownie point. What it was supposed to show is that ranged core units naturally beat melee core units, just like Marines beat Lynx in sufficient numbers. So melee needs AoE to level the playing field. Now the ranged units are at a disadvantage and need help to win. In StarCraft, the answer is simple, just build a wall or split. But in Battle Aces, splitting and wall building just isn't a thing. So you need big units. But melee core units can't deal with the big units, which might be a balance problem. We've been over this. So those now need the destroyer, which means the ranged unit's frontline just evaporates. Again, might just be a balance problem. Leaving little time to take down the tanky melee units with raw DPS, so now they are forced to bring AoE too, just so they can match how quickly the frontline dies. Forcing the ranged player into a redundant unit, as it should already be a winning matchup, but suddenly it's not anymore. And worse yet, while the melee player is only losing meta every fight, you are losing energy, growing the disadvantage over time as you are up against more and more tech units. Antibig as a whole just shouldn't exist. Just balance big units so they can be beat by melee core plus AoE. Then you can nerf AoE so ranged core doesn't auto-lose to that. And suddenly you have a game. If big units end up useless in a range versus range fight, just don't make them. Make the other unit. You still need to have them for when you fight melee, or you can flank with them. Also, AoE being used as a straight hard counter eliminates it as a comeback mechanic, which it should be. How many games were decided in StarCraft until a storm undecided them again? A lucky Bane hit, a single Widowmine shot, being able to turn the game around, or at least leave you with a fighting chance instead of this crushing feeling of just not having the correct unit. Battle Aces fights are just too binary. You either win or lose, which is also the reason you should basically never attack, as that puts you at a disadvantage, and one lost fight loses the game. This is further amplified by not having enough points of interest on the map. Even on 3 bases you only really have 2. The third, where the army sits anyway, so you can't flank there, and the natural, which is so far away it takes forever to get there. The main base with instant unit spawns just isn't a viable target unless you have shades or bombers. What you really need is 3 offensive POIs. Yeah, sure, your own natural is a POI, but not one you can apply pressure on. If you want to force multitasking out of your opponent, you need 2 points you can attack at the same time. And neither of which can be the third, where the giant army sits, because you don't actually want a straight up fight. You want skirmishes. If you allow a big fight to happen, the game is decided. Somehow they broke the destroyer auto-targeting. Now it shouldn't auto-target in the first place. But this is extra frustrating, where they seemingly just sometimes do it. I'd fix this problem by removing auto-targeting and nerfing the range back down to 10. Then give them an ability called manual targeting, which when activated buffs their range to 14 to 16, but they no longer automatically shoot at all. You have to focus fire them for them to do anything. This would remove the problem of them just shooting scorpions randomly. The range buff was after all just done because they felt so clunky and like they could never target that thing you want them to. This would fix both issues. The Gunbot range nerf is a complete misunderstanding on what was wrong with the unit. Yes, at 10 range it was OP, because it could outrange recalls and just grind them down. But the range wasn't the problem, it never was. The Gunbots needs that range so they can shoot from an extra row, since you have twice as many as you'd have recalls. The problem was, and still is, that they can effectively shoot while moving. If you're good enough, they literally don't have to stop. What they need is a delay before or after they shoot, just like 100-200 milliseconds. Just enough for the recoils to get the counter poke shot in. Make an animation like they have to dig in their little feet just to be a stable shooting platform or something. This is the pinnacle of competitiveness, being a 1v1 game with no randomness, giving you 100% player agency on what happens, and I'm a huge fan of player agency. If it was some story-driven RPG, I wouldn't be complaining. I enjoy movies too. Sometimes you just want to sit back and relax and enjoy something. But this is just not the genre for that kind of gameplay. And it's just the potential this game has that's making me so sad about what it is.